Hi, welcome to the channel again. Today I'm going to teach about the colours of the aura and what they mean. This will be very useful for anybody that's already developed a certain amount of auric sight, and I'll give some tips later on about techniques you can use to increase your ability to see the aura. So it's all quite simple really. The aura has basically the colours of the rainbow, and those colours are related to what we call the chakras, the energy centres in the body. So up and down the spine are these various focuses of energy, called vortexes of energy, that they call chakras. You may have probably heard about that word before, but if you're new to it, it's basically a swirling energy in the spinal system that connects the energy body, the spirit, to the body. All right, so they're like they're things that tie us to the physical body, basically. Anyway, each of those chakras is associated with a color, and those colors appear in the aura. And the colors we see in the aura are also reflective of our psychological state. Let's briefly go through the colors. I'll tell you what they mean, and then I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about how we can use this in our psychic readings to get a better and more accurate reading. Now, when I do readings for people, the whole idea of the aura comes up much more when I'm face to face with a reading. I can't really do auric readings over the telephone or by email, but if I'm face to face or I'm demonstrating to a public audience in a theatre or something, I'll often connect with the aura and I'll see the aura, particularly around the head. I'll see the colours. Now the colours are all through the body. You'll get a red and blue often around the fingertips and so forth. And sometimes you'll see different patches of colour on the physical body that can indicate health things. But I want to talk really about more the sort of thing you see around a person's head, because that's where the most dominant colours are. Now, supposing you see the first of our colours, which is connected with the Muladhara centre, which is the root centre of the chakras. And this colour is red. It's a primary colour. So red is a colour of passion, isn't it? So if you think about the psychological meanings of a colour, that is often the same thing as what the meanings are for the colour in the auric field, because we're projecting our emotions and our feelings, and they change the colours of the aura. We don't have a set colour and say that your aura is permanently gold or permanently blue or permanently red. It changes depending upon your emotions. And I'll tell you a few stories about that later. So red's the energy colour. It's full of, sometimes it can be anger, but also it can be vitality. It can be athleticism. So when you see red in an aura, it might show the person's very healthy and been doing a lot of work on themselves. It could show they could be a bit violent even if you see a very strong red aura. And particularly if the colours are darker, the darker they are, the more kind of sinister they become in a way. Although that doesn't apply to some of the colours like the indigos, which I'll talk about later. So in my book, Psychic School, right, and also in my book, Opening to the Other Side, I talk about the colours of the aura. So I'm just going to refer to some of them here as we go through. So the red colour is also associated with sexuality, right? So a person with a very strong red aura, like a person might dress to kill, right? So that's probably reflecting some of the energy that's coming out from them in their aura. We often choose our clothes depending upon our auric fields. So of course there's passion, there's anger. If you get flashes of red in the aura, it might show energy being shown into that other colour, And if it comes as a pink tone, which often occurs in pregnant women. So it's still the bodily colour of the red, but in this case it's become softened, it's become nurturing colour, and it's become the pink. Okay, so pink can sometimes indicate a colour of a pregnant person when you see that in the aura. Though I have to say, the colours of the aura, you have to work with those with your intuition. Just these one-off meanings all the time is not necessary. Don't always go by the book, no matter how marvellous those books might be, including my book, Psychic School, of course. Sorry. It is what your intuition is. That's the important thing with this. Now, orange is the next colour. Orange is like a combination of yellow and red. So it has the dynamic energy of the red. So it's still got a lot of energy, but this time it's tempered by the yellow. So the orange colour combines the power of the red with the yellow, which we can sometimes connect with intellect and creativity, right? And so this can show perhaps intellectual ambition, it can show willpower, mastery of the will, it can show a desire for change, a breaking with the past and things like this. And if you see balls of orange light in the aura, it can indicate the person's been concentrating on things, concentrating on issues. It often comes when a person's been doing something like an examination or something like that. So, you know, your intuitive feeling will have to interpret that, what that can mean, you know, because if you see a concentrated ball of orange light in the aura somewhere, you might see that, spot that, feel they're concentrating on something, but then it's up to your intuition to tell them what it is. You know, oh, you've been doing an exam in law. You know, would you understand that? You know, so we connect very much with the connection through this way. And it's also linked to the spleen area of the body, and so therefore is thought of often as a colour of cleansing and clearing. So it might, person might health-wise might be going through a period of recovery when they see orange in the aura. Now the next colour in the aura is connected with the next chakra, which is the Manipura chakra. I wouldn't worry too much about the chakras too much with this. We're more interested in the colours. So yellow is another primary colour, of course, and it's an energetic colour that's associated with intellectual activities. I've almost given you a hint of that before with the orange. So it's creative self-expression with the yellow. Van Gogh loved yellow greatly, didn't he? He was a very expressive sort of person. So if we see inspiration in a person, that is, their aura is likely to be of a yellowy tone, because yellow around the head will come sort of like a golden yellow. Sometimes it will sometimes show edge the aura in the yellows and golds. Can often indicate a very inspired person, often very talkative person as well, like we are here today for you guys. So it shows a lot of mental activity, and it's generally a very optimistic colour. So an optimistic person will often have a strong yellow colour in their aura, often associated with happiness as well, and brightness and cheerfulness. So that yellow, unless it's changed its tone, because sometimes the tone can be like a palo yellow of illness. So be careful how you interpret these too literally. Remember, the tones and colours can often change to be quite different things. So a sort of sickly yellow in the aura might show the person's ill or depressed or going through a very, very bad patch. Yet a bright sunflower type of yellow can show that they're very extremely happy, bright, intellectual, creative, you know. So you've got to be a bit careful how you interpret the colours too literally. So use your intuition. Now we go on to green. So green's a combination colour. It's not a primary colour. It's a combination of blue and yellow, of course, to get green. So we've got these. We've still got this quality of the yellow coming into the green, and yet we've also got the colours of blue, which I'll explain in a minute. Now, green is often associated with nature. It's often a colour that's seen in spiritual healers. Often healers will have both green and blue in their aura as a very dominant colour. So in the astral spectrum, it kind of represents balance in a person too. It's the balance colour of nature. So anybody with a lot of green, you'll probably find is quite a stable sort of person. They're probably the person that helps in difficulties. They calm everybody down. It's a good colour. It's colour of recovery again. Although, again, if we see a lime green, perhaps a green that looks a bit of a sickly colour in the aura, again, it could show the opposite. It could show illness, you know. But then a bright spring green, which is also a kind of a paler green, could also show recovery, you see. So the colour needs to be interpreted carefully. But the general overviewing thing with the green colour is often associated with this. It's got the spirituality of the blue, it's got the intellectualism of the creativity of the yellow, so therefore it comes kind of in between. It's a balanced colour. And often a person that has these colours, particularly if it's an emerald sort of tone, we would think of that person as being reliable, strong character maybe, and generally a well-balanced personality. So now the next colour That was associated, the green is associated with the heart center and the anahata center, by the way, in the chakras. Now, the next chakra is the throat chakra, the Vishuddhi chakra, as they call it in Sanskrit. Now, this is the color blue in Western ways of looking at auric colors. Now, blues are the spiritual colors. Blues are, on our astral palette, stand for sort of high ideals, altruism, humanity, devotion, reverence, even religious aspirations can be associated in this blue color. Blue is a spiritual color, and it's associated with the sky, so it's also associated with feelings of freedom and release, expansion. It's escaping from restriction. So if we start to see this in a person's aura, we might see these things happening in their life. They might have just been released from a very difficult relationship and their color is now relaxed. Thank goodness, you know, their colors have turned from maybe a red of anger to a blue now of escape and freedom. And it's a color associated again with the healers, with healing and health and peace as well. And remember, the tones can change too. The paler colors could give an icy blue might show a person to be a bit hard with their emotion, a bit of an icy character, as it were. But then remember, blues can be something like a powder blue, could even show some qualities of kindness and sympathy. You know, it's a gentle color that doesn't offend. And yet there's then the blue can also be a very strong color. It can be like the royal blues, you know, so it can show dignity and arrogance even, you know. So interpret the colors according to your gut feeling and understanding of what your intuition is telling you what they mean. So these are just an overview, these colors I'm giving you. Now, the next color is indigo and violet, which are associated with the third eye. This is another chakra. It's in the center of the head, the pineal gland, called the Ajna chakra. Now, the third eye indigo color, when you start to see indigo around a person's aura, that shows that they're very much on a spiritual path. They may have deep intuition, they may have psychic powers, they may have deep religious understanding of things. They may have, particularly if the colors are very dark, like I said with this color, it doesn't really show negativity, it shows a depth of understanding. A very deep indigo may show the person's connected to their unconscious mind, might have an understanding of the dream world, might be a psychologist even, not necessarily spiritually minded, but they're dealing with those aspects of the deeper aspects of the human psyche. Violet, it kind of takes it even to a step further, where the violet colors are of the higher spiritual aspirations, right? And we'll often see these then flushed with other colors such as silver, which gives energy and brightness and humor often comes in a silvery colors when you see it in the aura. So if you see a spiritually minded, humorous person, they'll have not just the violets and the blues and the indigos, but they'll also have flashes of other colors such as gold, which is a color of protection, and silver, which I say is a high level of pranic energy, spiritual awakening, and laughter and fun. So again, all these things have to be interpreted according to your intuition. It's not a thing we can do by the book all the time. We have to get a deeper understanding of what these colors are telling us when we see them in the aura. So just a few, so other colors, of course there's many colors we can make, billions of colors are possible. I've given you the main view there. So one other color, white will often be the color of purity, of course, but it's also pure prana. White is a good sign in the aura. It's a sign of that the person is very healthy, that the person is again on a high spiritual level. And it usually occurs when a person is very deeply at peace with themselves. Now, black can also be seen in the aura, although this isn't a color as such, because we don't get black light. Black is the absence of light. But sometimes in an aura, you get these patchy dark patches. I have seen it around people who are severely depressed, and it's strange because the colour looks almost like a light, and yet it's radiating from them. You know, if there was no light, you wouldn't see the aura at all, but you see it as black patches sometimes. And I've seen a friend of mine who took his own life. The colour of his aura was so dark once that it was frightening, you know. So an illness can often be black patches if we start to look around the body and things like that. But I'm keeping just to the main colour meanings at the moment. So black and the darker colours tend to be the more depressive, the more negative towards health, and the bright pastel colours tend to be taking us towards more clearer thinking and brighter thinking and cheerfulness. So let me give you a few examples of how the aura can change, because I remember coming back from a spiritualist church one night. I'd been doing a demonstration. I got back fairly late. It was fairly dark when I got home, and Jane, my wife, had gone to bed. Now, remember, she's also a medium. I came into the room and she said, "Oh my God," as I stood in the doorway, "Craig, your aura's so bright." Well, obviously it was because I've been demonstrating mediumship all night, all day, all evening, you know. And she said, "Oh God, it's beautiful. It's a golden yellows and things like that." And I said, yeah, okay, just a minute. Let me just try something. And I closed my eyes and visualised my aura changing. And she said, "God, it's just changed red." Okay, let me try again. It's changed blue. So the colour and emotion that I was pumping into my aura, so I'd pump a feeling of anger into my aura, and it'd go red, or deep spirituality, and it'd go blue. And even if I thought the colour, it would flush the aura with colour, which proved to me, and hopefully helps you to understand this, that the aura is influenced by our psychological state and the thoughts we have. So we can change the colour of our aura. So we don't say, "I'm a person that's got a violet aura or blue aura or silver aura." Your aura is changing all the time. But from a psychic's point of view, it's a great way to connect, because you have to go a bit deeper. So sometimes, you know, and you might get your own personal associations. Like often when I see a very pale violet in a person's aura, I know that that person's a vegetarian. And there's no reason I could say that violet means vegetarian, but I just happen to recognise that when I see a vegetarian person, for example. And other things like this, the colours will start to connect with you. And let's face it, more importantly from the person's point of view, they don't want to just know what the colours of their aura are, they want to know what it means. So if I see a red patch floating around the aura, and I might say, "Oh, that red patch is something you're concentrating on," so an orange patch is something you're focused on, and then I have to go look a bit further with my intuition and say, "Oh, are you studying law? Are you doing an exam tomorrow?" You know, so you've gone from seeing the colour to giving more information and giving the person something that could be very useful to them, and then you might see a bit more and be able to explain about that, you see. So these things are a way in with our psychic work. They're not the end in themselves, I feel. The aura is a very useful tool to get to being able to give some spiritual teaching to that person. And I find this with my own work, it's particularly if I'm doing face-to-face or I'm working in a theatre, like I said before. It's very useful if you're working with an audience. Because sometimes, if you're a medium, for example, you might not immediately get a spirit link. You might suddenly get a blank because your energy's dropped, you know. So I say, "Well, folks, I can't get my spirit link at the moment. I'm just going to work on an auric level with you for a minute." And I look for someone in the audience. I look for the brightest aura. Great, because you know that person's going to work with you better. They got the energy. And then I might start giving something about their aura or something. And the next thing I know, I've got the spirit person with me. And so I say, I might say something like, "Oh, you've got a blue aura. You're working spiritually. Are you a healer?" "Yes, I'm a healer." "Oh, your grandmother was a healer too, wasn't she? Was her name Nancy?" You know, and then so you've jumped from the psychic to the mediumistic. So those are some little tips, perhaps, that can help those of you that are on the path developing your psychic and trying to take your psychic to the next level, which is the mediumistic, and then those that perhaps taking the mediumistic to the next level still, which is the higher spiritual cosmic consciousness. So hopefully that's some useful things there with the colour of the auras. And I can't leave you without suggesting to you that you buy my book, The Psychic School, or even my book, The Psychic Handbook, which is very much a beginner's guide to these type of things. I've written quite a lot of books on psychic development, but you might enjoy those. That Psychic School book particularly shows you how to use the aura, particularly if you start working in a circle and working within a group of people. So hopefully that's some guidance there. Don't forget to follow this channel and click that little bell thing, you know, when you get the subscription. Click the subscription, click the bell, and then you'll get updates, because we do all sorts of things on this channel, as well as, you know, teaching this type of thing. There's lots going on. And join the community here, because we all leave comments and we're talking to each other, and it's very interesting. And I'll be really grateful for those of you that follow this channel to share these videos on your Facebook page perhaps, or on Facebook groups. Great, because then it gets out to more people out there, and on Twitter and so forth. So very much appreciated to those that have been doing this for me, because it gets more people getting engaged in these things. Okay, thanks for joining us. See you again next time. Bye for now. My book, Psychic School, will show you how to become a psychic or a medium. Over the years, I have demonstrated mediumship, confounded skeptics with the accuracy of my readings, and taught students how to unlock their latent psychic powers. For BBC television, my real-world Psychic School classes were filmed over a year and made into a major 3-part documentary. Now I show you how to recognise and harness your own psychic powers. In fact, these forces may already be at work in your own life through gut feelings, dreams and perceptions. All you need to do is understand how to recognise and channel your abilities. I will show you how to set up a circle that can take you from fledgling psychic to professional medium. Learn about clairvoyance, meditation, spirit guides, aura reading, inspirational speaking, psychic mediumship, and other age-old techniques. Open up to the spirituality within you and learn the rewards that can follow. Psychic School is available from Amazon or my website at psychics.co.uk.